Hello students, my name is Akshat Ayush. I'm 24 years old and my home state is Jharkhand. This was my third attempt in UPSC examination. I had previously failed in preliminary and this year I was able to go through all the way. Now the topic that I have chosen is internal security. My father is a former law enforcement official, so internal security comes very naturally to me. With regard to certain specifics that you need to understand, it is not only a topic that you need to understand with respect to GS 3, because every year you get at least 3 or 4 questions from this, but also if your family or if you have any residential background in the insurgency or militancy hit areas, then you need to have certain understanding of this, especially for your interview. So, firstly, we need to understand what is militancy, what is insurgency, and what is left-wing extremism. There is a distinction between the three. It is not the same, just applied in different regional areas. So, firstly, militancy is certain unorganized, violent action against the state. The key thing is that it is unorganized. It is not. It does not have large local support. On the other hand, when you consider insurgency, that is an organized militant action against the state, with some support of local population, especially from international powers. Which is what we see in the northeastern states. Left-wing extremism is, on the other hand, is simply an extension of a particular extremist ideology supported by due violent action. Now, when understanding internal security, it is very critical to understand the different facets of it. For example, cyber security, money laundering, arms trafficking, cattle trafficking, and all of these are very critical aspects that you need to integrate in your answer. For example, if you have a question, let's say related, like last year, like in GS3, there was a question on money laundering. So you can equate it with different organizations, for example, FATF, Eurasian Group, and so on. But also you can integrate it with the actions that are used for money laundering, for example, cattle trafficking, investment in real estates, and so on. So that will make your answer stand out, as opposed to it being banal, most students will be writing the same the answer that you have read from books and from your books and magazines. So you can make that interesting. Another thing is that you can go into some detail with respect to certain types of militant action. For example, in insurgency, in the northeastern insurgency, you can remember the name of one or two insurgent organizations from each state. For example, Kamtapur Liberation Organization from Assam, or National Democratic Front of Borderland, and so on. So when you remember the organizations and you draw a map of Northeast and you highlight each of these organizations from different states, it says that you have certain decent understanding, and it is not only a mugged up answer that you are just vomiting in the actual paper. Besides that, it is also important, when you study the different organizations that are involved against to ensure internal security in the country, you must have certain basic understanding of the areas that they operate and whether the insurgency or militancy in these areas has reduced or increased in recent years. So if you can remember the basic factual details of the number of insurgent or militant actions in these areas, for example, let's say in Jammu and Kashmir, the militant actions, the civilian deaths have reduced from, let's say, 200 to, let's say, 90. So over a period of 5 years. So that is a considerable drop in numbers. So if you remember that, it makes your answer stand out, as opposed to others who have not written it. Alright, so also try to give examples of different schemes that are initiated, not only the ones that we read in like your typical mains magazines, but also, like, for example, the Sahaya scheme of my own state, which is Jharkhand government, wherein it integrates sports. It tries to integrate children of the tribal background into sports, so that not only is the Indian sports encouraged, but also Naxalism is also reduced in the state of Jharkhand. So this scheme is a classic example of integrating of separating development and extremism. So try to delve into some parts of these. You do not need to go into extreme detail, but just delving into some parts, providing certain different schemes from everyone else, will make you stand apart in this regard. And my last message will be to you with regard to resilience. I have faced failure for 2 years consistently, and all that I hope is that you know that have certain people to talk to in your life, your family, your friends, or whatever. I used to have a friend. I used to ask him the silliest of doubts, and after my interview, he said to me, "Akshat, tere wajah se mera patience बढ़ गया है." But it's still important to have certain friends that you can talk to. Never feel you are alone. Everyone struggles through this exam. Everyone has been through the grind. That is all I would like to say, and I wish all of you the very best of luck. Thank you.